Visual-Spatial Intelligence. Visual-Spatial Intelligence processes the world through images, not words. The right hemisphere of your brain, especially the parietal lobe, rotates and reconstructs objects, distances, and shapes in 3 dimensions inside your head. Walk into a room and you don't think through where the furniture should go in words, you simply see it. Glance at a map once, and it stays locked in your mind. You can watch a complex mechanism and understand how it works without ever touching it, but this intelligence works quietly. These people often get overlooked at school because exams measure words, not images. In the hands of an architect, a painter, or a surgeon, this intelligence saves lives or creates masterpieces. But the same person can fail miserably at trying to give someone directions, because translating the picture in their head into words never comes naturally. Visual-Spatial Intelligence at this intensity is genuinely rare. Most people process spatial information on piece by piece. These people grasp the whole thing in a single glance. Logical mathematical intelligence. Logical mathematical intelligence sees the world as patterns and chains of cause and effect. The prefrontal cortex and parietal regions on the left side of the brain work constantly to process numbers and abstract rules. When these people encounter a problem, they break it into pieces first, then solve it systematically. Randomness bothers them. They believe everything should have a rule, a formula behind it. Playing chess, they see 10 moves ahead. While everyone else gets lost in a budget spreadsheet, they spot the error in seconds. But this intelligence comes with a cost. Emotional, ambiguous, ruleless situations make them uneasy. Facing someone who doesn't want logic in an argument, they freeze, because their world processes logic first and emotion second, never the other way around. This is one of the most celebrated intelligence types in society, but genuinely dominant in its pure form. It's far less common than people assume. Musical intelligence. Musical intelligence isn't just hearing sound, it's feeling the structure inside it. The brain processes rhythm, pitch, and melody by activating both the auditory cortex and the emotional centers at the same time. That's why music isn't flat sound for these people, it's a direct emotion. Hear a song once, and they catch its rhythm, its chords, even a single wrong note. Even in silence, a melody keeps playing in their head. They experience daily life itself through rhythm. Their walk, their speech, even the way they think carries a tempo. But this intelligence gets misunderstood constantly. Family and school treat it as a hobby, not a real form of intelligence. Yet these people hear layers of sound others can't. They can pick out individual instruments even inside background noise. Pure musical intelligence at this intensity exists in a very small slice of the population, and most of the time, it goes unnoticed and quietly fades. Bodily-Kinesthetic Intelligence. Bodily-Kinesthetic Intelligence means thinking with the body. The motor cortex and cerebellum coordinate movement in these people with astonishing precision. Watch a movement once, and their muscles can replicate it almost instantly. Pick up a tool and they figure out how to use it without ever reading the manual. These people can't learn by sitting still and passively listening. When the body stops moving, the mind shuts down too. A dancer, an athlete, a surgeon, a skilled craftsman, each uses this intelligence in a different form. But the school system usually misreads these people. They get labeled as the restless kids who can't sit still. In reality, their brain only truly absorbs information when it passes through the body first. This level of bodily intelligence is actually quite rare. Most people simply perform movement. These people think through it. Interpersonal Intelligence. Interpersonal intelligence means reading another person from the inside before they've said a word. The mirror neuron system in the brain runs unusually active in these people. They catch the smallest shift in someone's tone, a micro expression on a face, tension in someone's posture instantly. Walk into a room and they sense who's anxious, who's happy, who's hiding something without anyone saying a thing. These people naturally become the mediator, the listener, the person everyone trusts. But this heightened perception comes at a price. They feel other people's emotions so intensely that setting their own boundaries becomes difficult. While trying to carry everyone else's weight, their own needs get left behind. This level of empathy and social intuition isn't as common as people assume. Most people observe others, these people actually feel them. Naturalistic intelligence. Naturalistic intelligence is the ability to notice living systems, patterns, and the subtle differences within nature. Walk these people into a forest, and where everyone else sees plain greenery, they see dozens of distinct plant species, the first signs of a weather shift, an abnormality in an animal's behavior. The brain's categorizing and classifying systems run constantly in these people. They want to group, connect, and organize everything. This intelligence tends to fade in modern city life because as contact with nature shrinks, their strongest abilities goes unused. A biologist, a veterinarian, a farmer, an animal trainer all experience this intelligence in its clearest form. But most people never even notice it, because naturalistic intelligence is almost never measured in school systems. An observational and classification skill this sharp in its pure form is a type of intelligence that's becoming increasingly rare in today's world. Existential intelligence. Existential intelligence is one of the rarest types, and maybe the loneliest. These people carry questions about the meaning of life, death, the vastness of the universe constantly in their minds. While everyone else gets swept up in the flow of daily life, these people suddenly stop and ask why any of it matters. In these people, the brain keeps regions that process abstract, large-scale thought constantly active. Even a small event can send them spiraling into the big questions. At a funeral, they don't just grieve, they question what death actually means. In a moment of success, they don't just celebrate, they question what that success actually means in the bigger picture. This constant search for meaning sometimes leaves them feeling disconnected from the people around them, because while everyone else is dealing with everyday matters, they're still chasing the big questions. And existential intelligence, the strong, appears in a very small portion of the population, and it usually shows up in philosophers, writers, or deeply reflective individuals. 8 different intelligences, 8 different ways of seeing the world. None of them is superior to the others, they simply exist to solve different problems. Which one did you recognize yourself in? Maybe you saw pieces of yourself in more than one, because most people carry a mix of these types, each one taking the lead depending on the moment or the task, the room you're standing in. But if one of them feels genuinely sharp and genuinely rare in you, that's part of how you experience the world, and it's probably shaped more of your life than you've ever given it credit for. Think about the decisions that came easy to you while everyone else struggled. Think about the moments you felt completely out of place, surrounded by people who just didn't process things the way you did. That's not a flaw. That's your wiring. And maybe that's the most important thing here. Your intelligence is far more complex than any standard test could ever measure. And the rarest part of you might be the exact thing you've spent your whole life trying to hide.